Hello, students. In this class, we are going to be discuss about specific toxicity study. Okay, very minimum essential knowledge is required about these following toxicities studies. Okay, especially carcinogenicity, genotoxicity, mutagenicity, and teratogenic effects. Okay, so now we are going to be discuss. So last previous class we discussed about oral toxicity studies, oral acute toxicity studies, that may be either single dose oral toxicity studies, repeated dose toxicities, which includes subacute toxicity and chronic toxicity. Okay, these three toxicity studies generally reveal the, so what is the type of toxicity occur, so which organ is going to be affected, so what is meant by LD50, so what is mean by non observable toxic level, what is meant by maximum tolerated dose, minimum lethal dose, so what is dose versus toxic responses, so on, you are going to be express, okay, from this toxicity. But what I am whatever the toxicity studies now we are going to discuss, they are specific to particular aim. Okay, so first thing is genotoxicity. Okay, geno so generally genotoxicity, carcinogenicity, teratogenicity, and mutagenicity, so these are the other toxic studies should be performed for the drugs. Okay, for the drugs it stated that it does not produce any genotoxicity, mutagenicity, carcinogenicity while whenever administered for long term. Okay, generally you the drugs may be used for long term conditions. Okay, long term conditions are whenever it is used for long term uses, in such condition it may be possibility to it cause secondary effects. Okay, so that is maybe carcinogenic effect, teratogenic effect, maybe mutagenic effect. Okay, so like this, so that definitely you have to conduct the these type of toxic studies, you have to generate the toxic studies, and you have to these toxic studies are required for the regulating authorities, so to approve the drugs, okay, for long term therapy. Okay, so what is meant by genotoxicity? Already everybody know that gene, okay, is made up of DNA. Okay, whatever the genotoxicity implies that there is toxic ability, determination of toxic ability of the drug against the genes are nothing but DNA. Okay, so genotoxicity test can be defined as maybe either in vitro or in vivo test designed to detect compound that induce genetic damage by various mechanisms. So what actually genotoxicity mainly designed to detect the compounds that induce genetic damage by various mechanism. Okay, so this test mainly identify the DNA damaging effects of the drugs. Okay, so by this way, so what you have to get, okay, by the genotoxicity results, by the genotoxicity property, if suppose any drug which have genotoxicity, it may be cause carcinogenic. Okay, because cancer inducing property, maybe it is a induced mutations in the gene. Okay, mutagens, maybe it cause a birth defect, teratogenic effects. Okay, any drug which have the capability to cause DNA damage, it may be cause carcinogen, it may be cancer, it may be have carcinogenic effect, cancer causing effect, maybe a mutation effect in the DNA, or maybe birth defects. So that you can definitely you can determine the genotoxicity of the compounds which are used for long term purpose. Okay, so next, agents how they cause genotoxicity, maybe because of the production of reactive oxygen species, maybe because of their radiation effect, or maybe because they are structurally analogous to nucleosides, maybe they inhibit the topoisomerase, maybe protein synthesis inhibition, maybe directly acting on the DNA. Okay, so so many regulating authorities are required to require the this genotoxicity data. Okay, so who are the guidelines they will regulating authorities, they will ask the conduct the genotoxicity or any other toxicity according to the guidelines such as OECD guidelines, Schedule Y and ICH guidelines. Okay, so because this genotoxicity as a one of the component of regulatory requirements, compounds which have positive in this test, they have to potential to cause carcinogens and mutants, so it's used in productions. Okay, so if any compounds they have positive with this genotoxicity, okay, or carcinogenicity, okay, so such compounds, okay, should not be move on. Okay, they are not. Okay, so what is the aim of genotoxicity studies? The main aim, okay, to study, to identify the substance which can cause genetic alteration in the somatic and germ cells, and as well as to identify substance that cause genetic alteration, thus use this information in regulating decisions. Okay, to identify the substance that cause genetic alteration and thus use this information for regulating others. So first is to identify the genetic alteration by the drug. Next aim is to use this information for regulatory decision. Maybe they approve or disapprove this drug to release into the market, or maybe enter into the clinical trials. Okay, so mechanism. Okay, so mechanism of genotoxicity, okay, is going to be expected by, okay, drugs. Okay, the drug, any drug damage the genetic material, okay, is caused by interaction with DNA. Okay, thereby it causes either DNA chain breakage, or maybe GNA misaggregations, or maybe it cause deletion of the some genes, okay, like this one, or mutations. Okay, so this is about mechanism. So this slide will represent you what are the general these are the list of tests performed to test the, okay, genetic toxicity. Even it is this same test applied for mutagenicity also. Okay, the same test you can write, just even no less list out. Okay, bacterial reverse mutation test, mammalian cell gene mutation test, mammalian chromosomal aberration, mammalian cell micronucleus test, so on. Okay, you can just list out the genotoxicity test. So next is how you are going to be assess the genotoxicity. Okay, genotoxicity, our main purpose is to show that our drug whether they have the property of gene toxicity or not. Okay, so in that, okay, very important test are three main test. One is micronucleus test, chromosomal aberration test, third one is comet test. Okay, so these three are the major tests can we perform either in vitro or in vivo to assess the genotoxicity test. Okay, for example, same test you can apply for mutagenicity also. Okay, mutagenicity, so mutagenicity means it is one of the genotoxicity. Okay, because of the genetic damage it may cause, one of the effect is mutagenicity. Okay, so mutagenicity test, mutagenicity for the, what is mutagenicity? Mutagenicity is nothing but that you are going to be assess the whether the test compound have the ability to cause mutations in the genetic material. Okay, any drug which cause mutations in the genetic material is called as mutagenic. Okay, so major problem with mutagenicity is it will cause cancer. Okay, any drug which have mutagenicity is the ability to cause cancer. Okay, right. So for this you can go for two more methods other than this. Okay, right, you can write if no problem whatever the test I already repeated. One is a micronucleus assay test, chromosomal aberration test, coma test, along with specific mutagenicity test too. One is a Ames test, second one is a second one is this is comet, not comet. So one more test is there. Okay, so otherwise you can write the Ames test. Ames test is the major popular test used to assess the mutagenicity of the drug. Okay, now we are going to be discuss about some test regarding genotoxicity. In that, first test is in vitro mammalian cell micronucleus test. Okay, so what is the micronucleus? So micronucleus is nothing but uh, micronucleus micronucleus are the small nuclei. Okay, micronucleus are the small nuclei that are the products of fragmented, okay, fragmented chromatid and chromosomal fragment. Okay, micronucleus are the small nuclei. These are the derivatives of fragments of chromatid and fragments of chromosomal fragments that will be uh, not incorporated into daughter nuclei at mitosis because of the lacking centromere. Okay, this micronucleus, this they are not going to be incorporated into the daughter nuclei, so at mitosis because they are lacking centromere, so that they appear in the as a small nuclei in the cytosol. Generally the nuclei is in the center. Okay, so this micronuclei, so again I will tell you. So you can see. Okay, right. So what is micronuclei? A micronuclei are the small nuclei appear as a separate appear as a separate appear as a separate small nucleus in the cytoplasm in addition to the main nucleus. Okay, so generally you may not see this micronuclei in normal cell division. Okay, so this presence of micronucleus in the cell whenever exposed to drug, okay, it is have the ability to cause, okay, chromosomal damage. Okay, so micronuclei means, so these are the small nuclei appear as a separate small nucleus in the cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm. Okay, in addition to main nucleus. Okay, so how this micronuclei, so this micronuclei cannot be observed until the after first cycle. So this frequency of micronuclei within the cell popularly or highly depends upon the kinetics of proliferations. Okay, so this micronuclei mainly resulting from the fragmented chromosome. Okay, fragmented chromosomes or fragmented mitotic spindle. Okay, so they are failure to uh, incorporate into daughter nuclei during mitosis. Okay, these micronuclei are the formed from fragmented chromatid and fragmented chromosome. So sorry, micronucleus arise from the chromosomal fragments or maybe acentric chromosomes that are not incorporated into the daughter nuclei at mitosis because they are lacking centromere. Okay, are you clear? So how micronucleus is occur? Micronucleus arises from because of the chromosomal fragments, means chromosomal are going to be damaged due to in the presence of your genotoxic drug. Okay, micronucleus arises from the chromosomal fragments or from uh, acentric chromosome that are incorporated into the cannot, okay, they cannot incorporate into the daughter nuclei, main nuclei at mitosis, okay, because the lack of centromere, okay, because the lack of centromere, so that they are represent as a individual entity in the cytosol along with nucleus. This is nothing but micronuclei. So what you have to in principle is you have to determine the frequency of you have to determine the frequency of micronuclei appear in the, okay, test compound exposed cells and as well as the control animals, okay, sorry, control cells, okay. So for this what you have to do is first cell cultures of human and the other mammalian origin exposed to the test chemical formation of micronuclei in the interface cells, so that will be harvested and stained, okay, and analyzed for the presence of micronuclei after treated with cytokinesis blocker. So the assay detect the activity of clastogenic and anugenic chemical. Clastogenic is nothing but um, uh, chromosomal damage effect. This is called as a clastogenic effect. Okay. So are you clear this principle involved in the micronucleus assay? So this micronucleus assay here. So what is micronuclei? These are the small nuclei present in the cytosol along with main nuclei. So these are mainly these are the derivatives of fragments of the chromosomes have chromosomes occur due to the during cell division. So this what you have to do is you have to detect the frequency of micronuclei appear in the treated cells and as well as untreated cells, okay. So what is the procedure here? First you have to treat the cell cultures with the exposure test compound. The test compounds show some toxicity on the DNA, okay. Later on you have to harvest the cells. Then in order to visualize the micronuclei, definitely you have to do some staining, okay, staining the cells during interface, okay. Then are all analyzed for the presence of micronuclei after treat with the cytokinesis blocker like colchicine, okay. Next, so generally this micronuclei generally form during mitosis, okay. So you can stop the mitosis process. As for this you can use cytokinesis blocker, then you can detect the presence of micronuclei, okay. So this is about the micronucleus assay, okay. So how to report is percentage of vehicle in mm, percentage of micronucleal cells appear in the control and test compound, okay. This is about the micronucleus test. So next thing, okay, is in vitro mammalian chromosomal aberration test. Even in exam, just you have to list out what is meant by genotoxicity, what is the problem with the genotoxicity, then you have to list out the what are the tests you perform to genotoxicity, then you can explain one thing, okay, in detail, okay. Or otherwise you can write down this very brief about individual test. So here is one more test, genotoxic test is chromosomal aberration test, okay, chromosomal aberration test, okay. So what is the principle involved in the chromosome aberration test? Chromosome aberration means aggregation of chromosomes, okay. Aggregation of chromosome aberration means aggregation of chromosomes happen, okay. So after treatment with any drug which cause damage to the chromosomes, okay. So the principal main involved is after exposure of cell culture, okay, after exposure of cell culture with a treated drug, okay. So treated with the metaphase arresting substance colchicine with or without metabolic activation, later on you have to harvest the cells and strain, and metaphase cells are analyzed microscopically for the presence of chromosomal aberrations, okay. Chromosomal aberrations are nothing but small aggregators of fragmented chromosomes, okay. This is nothing but chromosomal aberrations, okay. So what is the principle? after exposure of cell cultures with test compound treated with the metastatic arresting substance like colchicine, okay, with or without metabolic activation. So later on you have to harvested collection, okay, collection of the that cells, then stained with some staining solution, then that metaphase cells are observed microscopically for the presence of chromosomal aberration. In the same micronucleus also you have to observe under microscope, okay, for the presence of electron microscope for the presence of micronuclei. So this is the procedure. First you have to do is like cell lines CHO, CHL, V9, 79 TK or cell lines type, okay. These chromosomal aberration may be two types. One is a chromosome or chromatid, okay. Chromosomal aberrations, structural aberrations may be two type, chromosomal aberration and chromatid aberrations. So if suppose chromosomal aberration seen in pre-S phase, okay, pre-S phase, that is G1 or S phase, damage induced pre-S phase, it is chromosome aberration. Suppose after synthesis of DNA, okay, you can see chromatid aberrations, okay. Damage induced post S phase is chromatid aberration, damage induced pre-S phase is chromosome aberrations, okay. So here this is the procedure. Here you have to treat the especially it is performed on lymphocytes, okay, lymphocytes. So you have to treat the lymphocytes with the test compound, okay. Later on you have to allow the cells for 3 to 6 hours, okay. So after that stop the cell division by application of colchicine. So then you harvest the cells and process involve hypotonic treatment of the cells. Next later on you fixation and staining the cells, okay. So analysis, okay. So after analysis you can note down the percentage of cells with structural chromosomal aberrations in the treated and untreated cells, okay. Percentage of cells with structural aberration you can note down in the treated and untreated cells, okay. So this is about chromosomal aberration test. This picture represent the whole thing. So cell lines, then cell culture, cell line, cell strains, cell culture, test compound are three different concentration. So later on finally after incubation period, so you have to treat the cells with metaphase substances. Next harvest the cells and stain with some staining solution. Later on you observe under microscope for the presence of chromosomal aberrations. So results are expressed in the form of percentage of cells with structural aberration in the control and treated animal, okay. So next is this is about two tests we discussed, micronucleus test and the microsomal aberration test. One more test is COMET test. That COMET test is going to be I will explain later, okay, is a separate video. So that is also useful to test the genotoxicity, COMET test, okay. Next one of the test useful to detect the mutagenicity also we have to discuss here, okay. Mutagenicity same you can write. So what is mutagenicity? Mutagenicity is nothing but mutagenicity toxicity studies used to test the identification of the mutagenistic properties of the any drug or any chemical by using various vitro in vivo method, okay. So any drug which cause mutagenicity is called as a mutagen. It is called as a mutagenic agent, okay, which leads to mutations either in the point mutations or maybe frame shift mutations, okay. So point mutation is nothing but it will cause mutations in the single nucleotide, okay, single nucleotide. This is called as a point mutations. So point mutations means instead of one nucleotide, one more nucleotide is going to be incorporated into the DNA, so which entirely alter the DNA structure. Okay, frame mutations means, so there is incorporation of extra nucleotides. Okay, incorporation of extra nucleotides into the structure of the chromosome. This is nothing but point mutation and frame mutations, so which cause change in the genetic composition of the DNA, so by which is able to causes cancers. Okay, which able to cause the cancers. Okay, right, this is about the mutagenicity. So what are the why you have to do mutagenicity? So in order to determine the mutagenetic properties of the compounds, so whenever it is useful for the long term treatment. Okay, long term treatment, or maybe for the treatment of chronic diseases. Okay, any drug should not be induce any mutagenicity. Okay, it may have the capacity to induce secondary cancers or secondary neoplasm. Okay, for this major important mutagenicity test is Ames test, bacterial reverse mutation test. Okay, uh, AMIS test. Okay, AMIS test is the test used to assess the mutagenic potential of the drug. Okay, so this Ames test is going to be described by one of the Professor Bruce Ames. Okay, in almost 1970. Okay, so this, so what is the principle here is, so you have to identify the you are going to be identify the mutagenetic potential of the drug. Okay, by using two species of bacteria. Okay, by using the in this test, you are going to be use some special bacteria, that is Salmonella typhimurium and Escherichia coli. Okay, which are already mutated in the with identified mutations in the amino acid sequence. Okay, so they don't have the ability to produce histidine, histidine or tryptophan. Okay, as the reported Lucas. Okay, you are using mutated microorganisms, Salmonella typhium and Escherichia coli. So these are identified with mutations in the amino acids. Okay, example histidine and tryptophan. Okay, so after treatment with, okay, any mutagenic drug. Okay, any mutagenic drug, so these mutations will be reversed. Okay, mutations will be reversed. So in order so once if it is treated with the test compound, the mutations will reverse mutations happen. Okay, in the test strain, restore the functional capacity of the bacteria to synthesize its essential amino acids. Okay, again I will repeat this test, AMIS test. Here you are going to be take the two species of bacteria, Salmonella typhimurium and Escherichia coli. They don't have the capacity to produce histidine amino acid. Okay, histidine is the amino acid responsible for it is essential for their growth. Okay, so definitely Escherichia coli and Salmonella typhimurium, they don't synthesize their own amino acid for their growth and all, so they require external histidine for their growth. Okay, but whenever you treated with mutagenic drug, the mutagenic drug will change the they cause mutations in their genetic material, which causes their attain. Okay, they attain the amino acid synthesizing capacity. Okay, so that is called revert mutations. They cause revert mutations. With this, they have the capacity to functional capacity to bacteria to synthesize their own essential amino acids. Okay, so this is called as a principle of M test. This is two types: plate incorporation method and pre-incubation methods. I am discussing only plate incorporation methods. Okay, this is the step by step. So first what you have to do is prepare the cultures of Salmonella histidine auxotrophs. Auxotroph means it contain it does not contain histidine producing gene. Okay, right. Next, later on what you have to do is, okay, after preparation of culture of salmonella histidine auxotropes means they won't synthesize the histidine. Next, mix the bacterial cells and test substance in dilute molten top agar media with a small amount of histidine. Okay, with a small amount of histidine. Same you have to do control also. Okay, so again control without any test compound. Again in control you are mixing the bacterial cells along with malted agar. Okay, small amount of histidine. Okay, so treated test treatment and control treatment, what is the only difference is, in test compound treated test substance is added, in control without any test you can use all this. Okay, bacterial cells, okay, dilute molten agar and a small amount of histidine. Later on this pour this molten mixture, okay, and on the top of minimal agar plate. Okay, so these all the mixture will be poured into the petri plate, then incubate for at 37 degree for 2 to 3 days. Next then you have to observe the how many number of colonies appear, okay, in the treated cell lines and as well as the untreated cell lines. Okay, you can note down the number of colonies, okay, growing colonies appear in the treated one and control animals or control cell lines. Okay, so because of the revert mutation by the so your test compound, so that after extraction after utilization, okay, so after utilization of the histidine, so for example in the control animals in the control cell culture, whatever the small amount you supplied that will be utilized by the bacteria for its growth. So further they won't grow because there is a lacking of histidine in the control cell culture. In the control cell culture, so there is a limited growth of colonies appear. The reason is they utilize the whatever the histidine supplied in the culture area after complete exhausted. So further growing of colonies won't appear because they don't have the ability to synthesize their own histidine for their growth. Okay, but in test compound treated petri dish, the more number of colonies, more number of bacterial colonies appear. Okay, the reason is even after completion of the histidine exhaustion histidine, they able to survive because they have the capacity to synthesize essential histidine amino acid for their growth and all. So this is the thing you can, okay, note down from the AMIS test. Okay, it is used because of mutations only. They have the attain the histidine producing genes, okay, in their DNA. Okay, so this is the diagram where you can clearly see that. Okay, so first one in the presence of test, second one is without presence of test. You can see that more number of colonies observed in the untreated treated cell lines rather than the untreated one. Okay, so this is about AIMS test. Okay, sometimes so here you can clearly visible. Okay, right, salmonella strain require histidine. So then you divide the thing into two things. You have to add into the two medias, one media which already incubated with test compound, one media they won't have the test compound, later incubated, then absorb this. Okay, so in treated okay, test compound treated saline exhibit more number of colonies of salmonella typhi because of the so high number of revertants says that mutagen causes mutations. Okay, they convert from HS negative to HS positive. Okay, why you are using liver extract to the media? Okay, here because because some chemicals, okay, some drugs, okay, as such they won't cause mutagenicity problem, but because after metabolism in the liver, okay, because after metabolism in the liver, they convert it into inactive metabolite, but the metabolite have the geno mutagenic property. In order to convert this, because the bacteria don't have the metabolism capacity to convert the drug from one chemical form to other chemical form, you are added the some liver extract to convert this process only, just for this only. Okay, so this is about this. Okay. mm, so this is about AIMS, AMIS test. So what is AMIS test? Finally results, finally what you have to observe is, you suppose if the drug have the mutagenic property, you can observe more number of colonies, growth colonies observed in the test compound treated cell culture rather than the control uh, control cell cultures. Okay, where cell culture, the control culture means we don't have any test compound. So this is about the mutagenic mutagenic activity. Okay, so with this we completed two things. One is genotoxicity, and as well as the mutagenicity. And still remaining toxicity are carcinogenicity and teratogenicity. Okay.